Hail and welcome to the FlameHisWorld commentary of Sonic Colors for the Wii. I'm the Flameclaw.
I'm Stephen.
I'm Chris.
And this is one that me and Stephen were talking about earlier, actually, that we're surprised it's taken us so long to get to Sonic Colors. Because, you know, it's one of the mainline Sonic games. It's one of the ones that the two of us both really like a lot. And Chris, I know you're kind of going into this one blind again, aren't you?
Yeah.
Which we keep doing this, don't we? We sit you down in front of a game and like, here, amuse us, humour us, talk about this game with us. But yeah, what do you know about the game that you've seen, or are you completely blind?
I'm pretty blind. I remember a while ago you guys both said you liked it, and it's considered one of the better Sonic games, isn't it?
Yeah.
But apart from that, I'm pretty blind.
It is. It's one of them games that, for me, at the very least, it has its problems. Like, don't get me wrong, it does have some kind of things that I'll have a bit to say about later on. But where colours benefits in the way that a lot of other Sonic games don't, is it has this whole sort of aura to it, like a very energetic, full of life, and I think it's like contagious fun in that respect. What do you think as a colour, Steve?
Yeah, it's like, in comparison to the games that came before it, it feels like the tone of it is a bit more childish in a way. Like, when you look at the storyline of previous games, it's a lot more... It's like they go for a more darker, grittier tone, whereas this, it feels kind of reminiscent of the original games.
Yeah, like the classic games,
because
really.
in this, you've got the wisps and you're trying to rescue them, similar to trying to rescue the animals.
Well, I would say more childlike than childish. I know what point you're trying to get at, but like
It seems to me like it's just sort of gone more fun, and less story, just gameplay. More.
Plus, everything's so bright and colourful.
It is like, it's a fucking trip at certain times, isn't it? Which is amazing. Like, it is very much a reach for the colours thing. This is cool that you can do. You can fuck around on the title screen and move the camera, which maybe I did lose myself in a little bit. Although saying that, it's not quite as, you know, entertaining as the Mario 64 one, you know, where you pinch his nose and shit. That's fucking fun. But yes, right off the bat, there's none of this bullshit with, like, you know, long drawn out, edgy cutscenes where you go straight into a level. It throws you right in. It shows you exactly what the game's about. And that's one thing, like, I'm saying that, I don't inherently think opening cutscenes are bad. I think if we're gonna go on about opening cutscenes, I think Adventure 2 probably did it best in that it's brief, but it also sets up the story, but then it also throws you right into action pretty quickly. But this is satisfying in its own right, in that, like, you know, you turn the game on and you're playing.
Your way, yeah. It seems at the moment very similar to Generations. So how similar would you say they are?
Gameplay-wise, bear in mind this is the game that came out just before Gens. Like, I think this was 2010, while Generations was 2011. This was more kind of working on what Unleashed had built up. So, like, you notice we have... Like, the boost is here. The boost's not as prominent as Unleashed or Generations, but it's part of the game. What I kind of get at by it's not as prominent is that you don't refill your boost by beating enemies and getting rings in this one. You have to get these special wisp containers, which more about the wisps later on. Right now they're just sort of throwing them at us. But yeah, it's got that same kind of appeal to it, I guess. Like, level design in some parts yes, in other parts no, but... Stephen, I think you might agree with me in that this is one of the very few 3D parts we'll see in colours, isn't it?
Yeah, despite this, it's like the majority of it is side-scrolling, which is kind of disappointing, but at the same time, I don't really mind that much.
I think the side-scrolling approach, I'm not sure whether that's a like intentional decision they made or whether that's just like a workaround, because like, this is on the Wii, and like, so it just doesn't have as much meat to it, like processing power and whatnot, as the 360 does. And so what you'll notice is on the few sections where we do get 3D moments, there are parts where the Wii kind of struggles, the frame rate takes a bit of a knock, and I think that might be why they designed it with primarily 2D levels in mind.
I don't think I ever really noticed that when playing.
Although the reason why you didn't notice that is probably because there's not many 3D sections to notice it. But yeah, it's like every now and then there's a token 3D section just to kind of go, oh yeah, we can do that.
Like this.
Yeah, like this. And like all the 3D stuff with a couple of exceptions, is just go forward or just do something like very basic. The platforming is mostly like locked down to the 2D parts. And that is where one of my points of contention with this game come from, in that the platforming is very blocky. Like, it's not the sort of thing that can ruin a game for me, but you'll notice during a lot of the like platforming gameplay sections, it is very much jump up a block, jump up another block,
Slows it right down. Yeah.
It does a little bit.
Kind of gets lost, doesn't it?
Yeah, this game I will say it is much slower than Unleashed in terms of its level design, and it's a little bit slower than Generations. And Generations was kind of like a happy medium, you think, Steve?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that's why I get annoyed that after Generations they just sort of threw everything they had away. Because, you know, we've mastered this gameplay style. Nah, fuck it, Lost World.
Yep.
But yes, the plot of this game. These cutscenes are fucking amazing, by the way. Some people absolutely despise these cutscenes because it's very corny, cheesy humour.
Yeah, there's not much of a plot in comparison to the previous games, but in a way I kind of prefer that.
I think the plot does what it needs to do. Like, I can see that some people might want a little bit more, but in terms of like the story and that, this game's strength to me is in the dialogue rather than the actual plot itself, because Sonic is a sassy twat in this game. And there's so many like bad jokes that I just love it.
Yeah, so previous game was Eggman splitting the earth open and summoning some great demon that's in the centre of the earth to try and fuel his theme park for some reason, because you want to do that with a god.
Yeah.
Whereas this, he's made his theme park, but it's like, yeah, he's just being a bit of a dick this time.
Well, at this point, it's kind of it's pretty ambiguous as to what he's doing, like to start the game with. Except Sonic and Tails have kind of thought, we'd better go check this out anyway, because it's Eggman. And yeah, I don't know how this is practical. It's a vertical car up to space that would probably have a few G-force issues going at that speed.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to go to the theme park, you've got a roller coaster on the way up. You might die. But I would love that if like that was Eggman's plan. Like, have you guys ever played Roller Coaster Tycoon?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
People are quite sadistic on that.
Yes, like I spent a lot of time as a child doing things like that, making really fucked up, dangerous roller coasters that put people immediately in harm's way. I would love that if that was Eggman's plot here. This is the proper introduction of Orbot and Cubot here. Like, Orbot was sort of in Unleashed as like it seemed like an earlier version of him, but in this game they've got those two's dynamic down perfectly, I think.
Hey, what's going on?
And yes, those there are the Wisps, the new characters in this game, which would end up returning in both Lost World and Forces. And what they are, they're basically power-ups with a personality, to a certain extent. But yeah, the white ones that we've been using already are the boost ones, and the green ones we just picked up, well, more cyan Wisps are laser. And the laser ones are kind of cool. They can be difficult to set up, but like that's one of the things that you just get good at over time. We'll see that in this level, actually. Stephen, do you have a favourite Wisp?
I'd probably have to go with laser, just for the fact that it just shoots you straight ahead.
Like there, as we saw. I do. I think I'll hold back for Chris's sake on what my favourite one is until we get to the level in question.
Of course.
Yes, my favourite one will be showing up in Asteroid Coaster, the purple Wisp. He's cool, but we'll see him in his own time. Yes, this first level is Tropical Resort, and this is actually the one they brought back in Generations 3DS. And it feels weird that they did that, given that the colours level in Generations 3DS was the last level, and they take the first one and make it harder, which I think the modern version in Generations 3DS of this is alright. It's not the most fun level in the world, but like it's better than what the fucking HD version got as a colours representative.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah, because Planet Wisp, we'll see that later on in this playthrough. It's not great in gens. I've had my bitch about it multiple times, but Planet Wisp in gens is not good. On the topic of 3D Sonic, I think we're gonna go into this conversation whatever during this playthrough, so we might as well get it out of the way early on. Stephen, what are your impressions on Forces?
It looks okay so far. It doesn't look like it's going to be a bad Sonic game, but it doesn't look like it's going to be anywhere near on par with that of Generations.
I see where you're coming from. Chris, have you seen anything of Forces yet?
All I can remember is the custom character thing. Yeah, I haven't really seen anything new from it. Like, what's the gameplay like? Is it sort of Generations-y?
Well, the modern Sonic gameplay is very Generations-like. Classic looks even blockier than Colours from the because they've shown off Green Hill from Forces, and it looks like a really awkward adaptation of Green Hill. And the Avatar character, it's sort of like a faster version of Colours gameplay, like with the 2D stuff and whatnot, except he has weapons. You can switch your weapons around, which I think could be cool, but they need to work on the level design, because again, the level they've shown from the Avatar character looks a bit bland.
Yeah, there's a lot of destroying enemies within a row. I mean, he just pulls out a flamethrower, there's like 20 enemies down a single corridor, and you're just walking and killing them all. It's like, could be a bit more creative with that.
Like, I'm okay with some sections like that. Like, if you've just had like a particularly difficult section, and having like the catharsis plow through all the enemies kind of section can be pretty fun. But like, that's the first part they've shown off, like that and a few sort of rope swinging sections and whatnot. Although I will say what is cool is when they've got that tag moment and it goes into fist bump and they actually fist bump, and that is fucking great.
Yeah, the thing is that I see a video showing what happens when you fail that. Nothing.
Oh.
It plays out exactly the same. They just slip up a little bit and then they go full boost anyway.
Oh, so it's automated that well. So yeah, in terms of colours right now, Sonic has learnt that he can sort of fuse with the Wisps temporarily to harness their power. And meanwhile, Tails is working on a translator, which will be one of the jokes that they sort of overplay a bit in this game, but I still love.
I find that hard to believe.
And I will say also, Sonic Colors was the first game to use the new modern voice cast. So Sonic is voiced by Roger Craig Smith rather than Jason Griffith now. Tails, I believe Tails is voiced by Kate Higgins. I can't remember exactly. I don't really remember that many of the new cast names, but I think on the whole this is a really strong cast, and they're the guys that are still playing the Sonic characters to this day, with a couple of people that have rotated to my knowledge.
Well, I'm not familiar with the names at all, but I'll just say that I prefer the cast from Colours onward.
Chris, have you ever followed any?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of more. I think they've got it pretty spot on for Sonic and Tails. I think like Tails' voice is pretty good in this and onwards, and same with Sonic.
Tails actually sounds like a young boy, which is weird given some of the previous voice actors were young boys and they just sounded like babies, really. But
yeah, because it's like prior to this, Tails has never had a decent voice. Every time he's spoken, you want to be able to say to him, please, just shut up. Can you just write down everything you say onto a bit of paper? Well, you'll be just fine with that.
Look at all those Eggman's robots. Like, the Heroes one is the fucking worst, isn't it?
Easily.
I don't know who did that. I think that was a young child they had voicing him there, but he just doesn't sound right. It sounds almost like the kid had no reference of who Tails was, and he was just trying to do like a really high-pitched voice for a child's standards.
Yeah, it's like with the Colours voice up onwards, it's like, I can listen to you and actually enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think I don't want to put the blame on any of the voice actors from any of the casts, because I don't think it's the actors themselves have ever been the problem in older games. I think a lot of it comes down to direction. Like, there seems to be a lot of times when, like, the way the lines are put in, it sounds quite jilted. That's particularly apparent in, like, Adventure, when they reused a lot of lines from scene to scene, and it was clear that, like, the voice actors were given no context. Like, if you think of, like, Eggman's, he's not going to get away with this. Like, not only is that a battle cry during boss fights, they also just randomly slap it in a cutscene towards the end in the last story, don't they? Which is fucking, like, obvious that they had no sort of context for that line at all. But that is one of the things with voice acting, that the direction is just as important as the talent itself, because otherwise you get things like Heavy Rain, where the voice acting is so bad, you can tell that the voice actors had no sort of context as to the story itself and were just reading their lines off a bit of paper with no reference. And like, there are certain things in that game that are so obviously first takes that had no sort of, yeah, you could do that a bit more punchy, or you could put a bit more heart into it. No, it's just, I'm reading the line, this is the line. I love those fucking cutscenes, I'm sorry. So the plot here that's coming in is Eggman wants to use the Wisps for their Hyper Go-On energy, which is a fucking stupid name, but we'll roll with it.
Yeah, he's discovered these aliens, and that's the first thing that he thinks of for the name of the energy they produce.
Hyper Go-On. Sonic is being a right twat here, I love it.
Sonic here is going to stop him. It's like the boss was calling Sonic nothing.
Jokes are funnier when you explain them, you know.
You're so smart, robot. You take care of this mess. Release the big boy. I know he won't.
I'm sorry, I can't not giggle at that.
You child.
Yes. You now realise I'm a child after I've recorded a Sonic game for the internet. But yes, the first boss here. Stephen, what are your thoughts on Colour's bosses?
They are pathetic.
They are fucking
It's like
stupid.
they look good from a distance, but the moment you actually start playing it, you realise there's no challenge here whatsoever.
There's not. How long do you think this boss is going to take me here?
Probably under a minute or two.
Are they all based on roller coasters then?
There's 3 variants, that isn't there?
That's
Oh,
it.
cool.
Yeah, and that's him dead, by the way.
Yeah, under a minute.
Yeah. Fuck that guy.
That was just as weak as the typical henchman.
Pretty much, like, I probably have more difficulty with the fucking egg bombs in certain placements. But yeah, nice easy S rank. And like, the S ranks aren't anywhere near as generous here as they are with like Generations or the like, but I'm more going for a no damage run here rather than trying to get the S ranks down. So there'll be some parts where I'll get S ranks, most of them they'll be like A's and B's.
Pretty sure Sonic just did a moonwalk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's got Michael Jackson's shoes, hasn't he? So Michael Jackson actually did the music for Colour Sting, you know.
Oh, of course, that old rumour.
Okay, ask away.
Let's see how this translator works.
Who are you, and what is happening to your people?
Okay, he says his name is Talks a Lot, and he's from a faraway soda, and where flowers.
Like, I get why people don't like this kind of humour, but that to me, like, tickles all the right spots, you know?
I think I can figure this out, though. Okay, he said his name is Yacker. He's from a race.
We take it his name is Shaka, we're going to be calling him that, but that could just be Tails Machine fucking up again.
W.
Yeah, I'll just stick with aliens if that's okay with everybody.
Oh, for goodness sake.
So, like, it's, you know, like, I don't get how you could actually be mad at that. Like, it's the sort of thing I get why people don't like it, but this is so goofy, you know? Like, this
Yeah,
just...
I like the vibe.
It is, like, and the whole game is kind of like this in terms of its dialogue.
When I was running around trashing robots, I saw a map that had a couple of interesting places. I think I'll go check them out, and maybe save some aliens.
And this is the other part that I think gets me a bit. Like shit like that, you know.
That's a fair point. They're clearing up the bodies of what is to them the deceased.
Yeah. Like, now just imagine a human doing this with human remains, and that's basically what we got going on here.
But then again, why? I mean, I've asked this question before. Why does Eggman give them artificial intelligence?
Not only that, why does he make them like fucking sassy toward him?
Yeah.
Unless he just like he gets bored and he wants a little bit of resistance to kind of prompt him into his plans a bit more, which that could add up, you know, with some of his other plans.
It could be a motivator of sorts, but
maybe. But ladies and gentlemen, join us next time where we'll be going into the Sweet Mountain. See you then.